Welcome back to Nice Girls Don't Win. I'm Parvati Shallow.
And I always wait for you to say it. And this is my co-host, so I'm like, Amy Bean.
Amy, you look different.
Ooh.
Let me see if I can figure it out. Did you get a nose job?
No, I don't need that.
Did you got another ear piercing?
No, I've had those for a couple years.
New sweater?
New sweater. And new boobs. But you would never tell. You would never know because they're
I know.
just...
I can tell.
Yeah, well, I showed you and I was like, delete this. But basically, I've told you about this. I'm turning 40 this year. I've had 3 kids. I was looking in the mirror and my tits were inverted. And I was like, oh my God, this is not me.
Not how they're supposed to be.
I want to feel my best, look my best always. And it's really for me. And so I just filled out the bra again. And
okay, can you just give us a moment without the sweater?
No.
Can you
am modest.
Show us your tits?
No. I would never.
Nick doesn't even listen to the podcast.
He's never even seen these. Jesus.
Anyway, it was really funny. Amy was on a lot of lorazepam last week after her surgery. And she was like, you guys, I'm not going to be available. We have to pre-record the podcast with our guest because I'm going to be on lorazepam.
I don't know how I'm going to respond,
She thought she was going to be asleep for days. Amy did not sleep. All she did was send emails. I've never seen someone more on fire in my life.
I don't know what it was. It wasn't lorazepam. It's not what Parker Posey's taking because I was really like, I can do anything. This is great.
Anything.
Here's some ideas. Like, I was like, okay, we were getting hit up for, like, we haven't done ads in our podcast yet. And we've gotten hit up for a couple people to be like, would you guys be willing to read these ads? And it made me think, why don't we hit up the brands we actually use and love? And so she's like, look, she's getting 100 emails.
I'm like, who? It's like from Amy Bean to all these different advertiser partners. And it's like, great, perfect, natural synchronicity opportunity. I'm like, Amy's like hugging all these people through the email. I've never read or written an email with that kind of warmth and enthusiasm. It was my dream. I felt like I was falling asleep into a Charmin commercial.
We're partying. We like celebrating David's big win. It's like 9:00 and she looks at me and she's like, are you still sending emails?
I just got an email from Amy
and
at the party that David threw for the Deal or No Deal finale.
I was like, I'm going to schedule these emails because I'm not going to blast them off at like whatever 7 a.m. or whatever time I was doing it. So I'm like, I'll schedule them for like 9 a.m. But that one accidentally was 9 p.m.
I'm just so curious. I loved the side effect of your surgery. So I'm just wondering, are you going to do like butt surgery at some point? Or, I was talking to my friend who owns a med spa in Venice, and she says there's this new thing that people are doing, and it's like front butt saddlebag implants.
No, I don't
Derek,
know that.
have you heard of this?
To give you hips?
She showed me pictures of it, and I was like, oh, this is the new trend. So I don't know. Maybe next time if
am good.
If our business needs a boost, we'll get you in there.
No, it's gotta be you because you'll show it off. I'm just like, okay, I personally did this for me. I won't do anything else. I like a little Botox. Like that's really it for me. I'm happy now. I'm like, I'm all good.
You look great.
Thanks. I feel good.
I can sense your buoyancy.
I'm bouncing.
One balloon at a time.
Okay, well, there's actually something else we need to talk about because I am so confused. Is Rob doing Survivor 50? You would know.
Yeah. Wait.
He posted.
There's a lot swirling around in the Survivor 50 atmosphere. Tyson actually kicked this off because there's so many people who have just been cut from season 50. Like Carolyn went on Instagram and was like, I've been cut from 50. Does anyone have any contacts for Deal or No Deal or Australian Survivor? And Jesse.
Is that true?
I think his last name's Lopez from Survivor. He also was cut. So there's some people who are going online and posting that they were cut. So Tyson did the reverse. He went online and he said, it's really funny. Actually, I'm going to pull up his tweet because I was laughing
He's
so
pretty clever.
hard.
That's what I mean.
He's
All these Survivor
my
people.
favorite. He's so funny. I think he would be so good on Traitors. Okay, he wrote, after being led to believe I would definitely not be on season 50 due to over 5 years of no contact, Survivor called me out of the blue last week to confirm I will be on season 50.
Okay.
Tyson.
Like, what a great little PR stunt.
He said this
I
tweet
hope he
went
is.
crazy.
Is he?
Oh my God. So I called him immediately and I was laughing so hard. I was crying because no, he's not. I mean, no, you guys. Wink. Maybe he is. If Tyson plays, I'll be there. And Rob also went online and said he was playing.
But there was no
too.
joke there. Rob, I don't think
But
he was joking.
It was the April Fool's.
Oh.
It was April 1st when he posted it.
Oh my God.
Right? I
Wait, no, we need to get to the bottom of this.
Or close enough anyway. I'm trying to confirm with Derek, but he's given me a maybe.
Okay, so when are they releasing the official cast list?
I have no idea. I think they're gonna start filming kind of soon. I think they're leaving in a couple months.
So, but when Carolyn said that she's not officially doing it, are you allowed to do that? Like maybe that's her. I don't know. As a producer, you're really not allowed to mention anything. I don't think
people feel burned, so they're doing what they can to
Why would they not
stay
bring
hot.
her on? I feel like bringing her on.
I don't know
would be
why
really
that's
good.
a missed opportunity to bring
Yeah.
her on, especially if they need more interesting women characters.
Right.
She's a very interesting female character.
I know.
And she's smart.
And she's warmed up, like you've said it,
Yeah.
playing Deal or No Deal Island, and then going to play the Australian Survivor. You feel warm, right?
I know, but I gotta say, you really can't beat Australian Survivor. If you're an old school Survivor fan,
Really?
and you liked that style of gameplay with it's more straightforward, you've got idols, you've got these hardcore challenges, and there's not all these bells and whistles like a shot in the dark and all these other kind of little things that are confusing and make it a little bit more luck involved. Australian Survivor is direct, straightforward strategy, social game, and hardcore challenges.
We're getting a lot of comments about people asking how they can watch it here in the States, and I feel like we got to talk to Peacock or some. We need to figure out a way for them to.
I think I can figure out how to get our listeners some kind of link.
Okay. Ooh, exclusive.
So I'm working on that for the Nice Girls Don't Win podcast community.
Okay, thank you, Parvati.
You guys are
Yeah,
Survivor
you
fans.
and Sari, hello.
Okay, we also have to talk about White Lotus because we have a finale coming up
We're
really
on the last
soon.
episode. There's a lot.
There was a proposed kinky sex triangle with
Greg.
Saxon, Greg, and Chloe.
I know.
And I can't
Saxon's like,
believe he
no,
turned it
he
down."
does not get it. He did not get it. He was not, it wasn't tracking for him. He's like, stop.
I don't want to feel used.
I
But I
know.
loved when Amy Lou was watching it and her face.
Oh, she's so
She's my
cute.
spirit animal. I love her so much. I watched her audition video. Or no, it wasn't her audition video, but it was her talking about how she got on the show and her audition. And she was like, I've never wanted anything so much. And I was really nervous about it. She's like, I kept putting it off and turning it down and saying no because I wanted it so much.
Ooh, is that a
And then
technique
she
on how
read
to really get it?
No, I don't think so. But this is what I'm saying. You can't miss what's yours. You can't.
I know.
She couldn't procrastinate it away because role was meant for her.
Wow.
Did you just see the hummingbird?
Yeah, I love this hummingbird. There's a hummingbird outside the window that always visits us. And it's always here, but I feel like it's here when we're here doing this.
I want to get Amy Lou on the podcast. I think that
We need
hummingbird
someone
is
from
a
White
sign.
Lotus next week. Because I'm working with the production company, you've worked with them at the white carpet or the wood carpet.
Yeah, the wooden carpet for White Lotus.
For White Lotus.
Yeah.
And so we're working on getting somebody, and I think it's going to work because we are big fans. We love the show. I can't believe, is there a season 4? Did you see that pickup thing I sent you?
No.
Oh my God, you didn't see it?
What
So
is it?
it says that it got picked up and it's officially in development. In this upcoming season, this series returns to the Mediterranean. And for the first time in the show's history, the series will take place at a fully vegan, eco-conscious resort.
Oh my God, it sounds right up my alley.
I think Mike is like thinking of you and like he's gonna place
I'm
you
like
there.
invading his dreams every night. I'm just like, before I go to bed, I'm like astral project to Mike's bedroom. And then I'm like, tap, tap, tap.
Oh, he
Mike.
did have a bird of you,
can
which
never
is really
escape.
cool.
Yeah, the bird died.
So what? That's why he's like, I'm gonna write White Lotus about death. Like, I don't know. He's so influenced by Survivor, I think.
I know, that's what I'm, well, wink. Look, I have witchy ways.
Okay. Yeah, you sure
Also,
do.
your other show, like we have so many things to
Okay.
touch on, so I want to keep us moving because
Good.
you have another show called $1 Million Secret
That I
is
worked
on
on, yes.
Netflix right now, and I watched it, and it's so fun.
Okay.
It's kind of like Traitors. If you're missing Traitors,
Yeah. It has
It's
that
good.
element of hunting, like down like the traitor, but it's not a traitor you're hunting a millionaire. So it's number 3 on Netflix right now in the US. I think it's like number 2 in Canada. It's like everybody's watching it because we have an executive chat going on, and people are in the UK, people are in Australia, people are in Canada and the US. And so we're all like, oh my gosh, it's like it's in top 5 in every country. So I think it's doing really well. It's super fun. And at the end of this episode, we're gonna
We
bring
have
we're gonna bring the
someone-
first millionaire.
we're going to bring the first millionaire on to talk with us because it's really funny. I mean, my experience on Traitors was it is difficult to lie, especially if you're one of the only ones, and then there's all these good guys. There's so much pressure to be a good guy and like to be a part of the group and to belong and to fit in. So what we see in these shows that are sort of like Traitors, and this one has the same elements, is people regress to their childhood self and they just start breaking down. Like that one girl that just started sobbing at breakfast because the guy was like, what do you mean you can't remember where you were sitting?
It's impossible to not get emotional when a camera's on you for a lot of people. Like, especially your very first time. It's like, it's a lot. And it's not that you're like, oh God, the camera's on me. It's because you're just feeling so much emotion. I watch this all the time with people and you're living in it. And it's funny for the viewers watching, they're like, I would have never done that. But when you're in it, you really don't know what you would do because the decisions you have to make are so quick and so, you do this all the time. So like,
it's really tricky when you're isolated.
yes.
Like on Survivor, you have an accomplice or you have a few people that you can work with as your allies who you can tell the truth to. On Traitors, you have a couple other traitors. At least you can talk to them and you have their support. But on this $1 million secret show, there's only one
I know.
millionaire with a trunk full of cash in their room and they have to hide it. And there's all these clues that are being given out
That's
to
the
like
greather part about
help
the
people
show.
discover who the millionaire
Like
is.
the challenge really matters because on a lot of these shows, you're watching the challenges and sometimes I'm always like, oh, I can fast forward through that. I like the part where, they're living in the house and the strat starts happening. But for this, you want to win the challenge so that you can get into the trophy room. And in the trophy room, you get clues on the millionaire. And so what's fun is you're like, I always hoped as the producer that the millionaire would get inside of the trophy room because if they get inside the trophy room, they can hear the knowledge on the clue so they can always change the clue when they go out if they want. Mm-hmm. And then you go out and you tell the rest of the gang. So you can kind of change the game depending on the power that you win.
But these clues are actually giving real information about who the millionaire is, like really narrowing it down to a few select people. So it's a really fun show. I'm excited to talk to our guest about it. But first, before we talk to her, we interviewed an Enneagram expert. And if you guys don't know what an Enneagram is, buckle up because this is a way for you to deep dive into your personality, why you do the things you do. There's 9 personality types on the Enneagram. And they're formed, I think they're kind of formed out of our childhood kind of environments, adaptations, who we are. So we're going to talk to Stephanie Barron Hall, who is an Enneagram expert. and she's going to help us learn about ourselves, which is our favorite topic.
I know. And I think like we'll put on Nice Girls Don't Win, one of the free tests to take it. So if you are listening and want to know what your personality type is, it's really fun to just follow along, I think. And like, also I made all of my friends and family and my husband and everybody take the test. And so now I'm like, during the interview, I'm like, oh, this is them. This is so them to a T.
Yeah. It's so me. Like I found the Enneagram when I was it was like 2012. So I was like 30 or something like that. And I read it and I was a 7. And I took the test again and I'm still a 7. So we don't change.
Yeah, well, I just recently got into it because I heard this Stephanie Barron Hall, our expert today, on another podcast. And I was like, whoa, this is a thing. Because it really teaches you how to manage, I think, your behavior and your emotions and things that, you don't recognize you have. And
yeah, because it talks about when you're veering towards the unhealthy side of your personality and you're like, oh,
because I'm a 3. So and that's considered the achiever, which I was like, yes,
yeah,
I got that. And then I dug in and I was like, ugh, so the interview I think is really interesting. I think, why don't we give a quick overview of the types? I think you should read them really quick, just so that.
Okay, I'm going to run us through types 1 through 9. So you guys just, as you're listening, think about which one jumps out at you. And I think you might hear yourself in kind of all of them, but whichever one is like the number one is sort of the one you want to dig into. All right, here's type 1. Known as the idealist or the reformer, they're motivated by a desire to be good and moral. I think that might be some of our $1 million secret people.
I know. I want to know everybody that was like that plays TV, what their Enneagrams are.
Yeah.
It's not like a horoscope. It's not like you can figure out their birthday and do it. Okay. Enneagram type 2.
Okay. Type 2, known as the giver or the helper. They're motivated by a desire to be loved and appreciated. Oh. Type 3, known as the performer or the achiever, Cha-Cha, Amy. They're motivated by a desire to achieve and be successful. Okay, type 4, known as the romantic or the individualist. They're motivated by a desire to be unique and authentic. Type 5, known as the observer or the investigator. They're motivated by a desire to learn and conserve energy. I think those ones really like to kind of hole up. Type 6, known as a supporter or the loyalist. They're motivated by a desire to be safe and have support. Type 7, known as the adventurer or the enthusiast. It's a sunshine smiling. They're motivated by a need to be happy. Don't piss me off.
2 left. And this is my husband at type 8.
Type 8. It looks cute though. Known as the protector or the challenger. They're motivated by a need to protect themselves and others. These are like the really strong people who are like, don't mess with my wife.
Okay. I don't know if Nick's like that. He's like, Amy can handle it.
He's like, get your ass to Costco. Stand in line. Get those cheap
Costco
eggs.
Story this morning. I ended up getting 15 dozen eggs because either you get the big box of eggs or you don't get any eggs. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sell eggs now.
Oh my God, you're such a 3.
Okay.
That's the over.
And it was $110. And he goes, why didn't you just go to Trader Joe's?
Wait a minute. Wait, you went to Costco to save money on eggs. And you bought $110 worth of eggs. Yeah. How did you not lead with that story?
Okay, sorry. That happened today.
What are you going to do? Do you have some in your car?
Yeah.
You can give me some?
I should have brought some. Oh my God, I should have brought some. I'll come back. Oh, you're coming over later today. I'll give you some.
I'm going to bring my Easter basket.
Oh yeah, Easter is coming up. Oh my God, sorry. Okay, derailing.
Okay, type 9 is our final type. We've made it through all the types. Known as the mediator or the peacemaker. This one's Amy Lou's character on White Lotus. She says, I'm an Enneagram 9.
Oh, yes.
That means she likes to keep the peace.
Oh, and Derek right here. He's our 9.
Derek is also a 9. They're motivated by a need for peace and stability. Okay, we made it through.
All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the interview with Stephanie. We'll play that now.
And then we're going to talk with that millionaire. So stick around.
Lauren Jean. Stephanie Barron Hall, thank you so much for being here. I tracked you. I was like, Parvati's like the other day, she's like, we need to do something on the Enneagram. And I was like, what do you, like, I've heard about this. I've listened to a podcast. I actually listened to a podcast that you were on, and that's how I was like, wait, there's an expert in this world. You have a book. So
Okay, explain to people who are just tuning in and don't
Yeah.
know what the Enneagram is. How do you explain it to in its most basic terms?
The Enneagram is a personality framework oriented around 9 core types. And each of these types has a core motivation. So the most important thing about the Enneagram is that it's motivation based. So a lot of us do similar things for different reasons. Like maybe we have a podcast, maybe we get to work on time, whatever the thing is that we're trying to do. We have these similar behaviors, but we do them for different reasons. And so that's the underlying kind of concept about the Enneagram. And what makes it different from some of the other typologies is it doesn't just describe how you are right now, but it also describes, your growth path. And sometimes you can even look at it and notice, okay, this is how I used to be. Like I used to be way more this way, but I've grown and I'm a little bit more this way now. And so that's why I really like it.
okay, I think for people, because I'm asking my friends and family to take this test because I like, now that I'm so into this, I'm like, oh, I understand you a little better. But for me, I didn't even know what my type was. And so I took the test. I found out I'm a 3W2, which makes so much sense. And it's like, oh, cool, I'm the achiever. But really, it's not what you think it is. Like, I've realized that it's like, oh God, that's a lot of work for me. And I should stop putting all this pressure on myself to achieve. And I'm exhausted and I'm tired and it's relentless. And I'm like, how do I change from a 3 to a 7 like
She wants,
Parvati?
she wants to be a 7.
I mean, don't we all? Don't we all? When I first found my Enneagram type, I also like I did the little test and the achiever popped up. And I was like, yes, I won, right? And then
That is you.
I know.
yeah, very quickly I started realizing like, oh, these are actually things about myself that I don't like.
I know.
You know, it's exhausting. I'm like doing this weird shape shifting thing and realizing I thought I was fooling everyone by doing that and I wasn't. Like that was so embarrassing for me. And
That
then
people had your number.
yeah, like people could see behind this mask that I thought I was like working so well.
Yeah.
Mm.
And then also just it said threes are not good at processing their emotions. And that was surprising to me too. Um, because I was like, what? I'm really sensitive. I've always been told I'm sensitive. But there's a difference between being sensitive and like actually productively processing, what's happening for you. And so that is all part of like the Enneagram work is not just noticing those things about myself and being like, well, now I'm going to make excuses for my behavior, but actually taking it and saying, okay, these are things I'm going to work on. So over the last, well, now it's been like 10 years basically since I started, um, doing this personal work, not necessarily professionally. And finding more ways to be a little bit more carefree, a little bit less focused on what other people think of me. That's something that's great about sevens is they're like, well, you can think whatever you want,
Yeah, fuck
you
you.
know? Yeah.
Well, maybe what we should do. Well, Parvati is clearly a 7. No.
Well, I find this so fun and fascinating to do these kinds of personality tests and the Enneagram specifically because everyone in my life who I asked to take it, when they gave me their number, I'm like, that is so you. Derek, you relate to your number. Everyone is like, oh,
Yeah.
100%. So it really does get to the heart of the person. And I'm wondering, is this like, how does it work? Like, how do we get these numbers? Because my
Right.
background is in, I do a ton of therapies, different kinds of therapies like parts work, um, somatic therapy. I've done like a ton of stuff. So
Mhm.
I'm fascinated with survival types and like fawning, flight, fight, freeze. Like the challenger in the Enneagram seems like their survival adaptation would be to fight. The
Mhm.
number 3, like Amy, your survival adaptation would be fawning or pleasing. So how does this come to be? Do we develop it in childhood? Are we born with
Yeah.
it? Does it change? Good question. Can we
Yeah,
change our
I think
number?
so. The overarching theory is no, you can't change your number. It doesn't. change.
Sorry. I'm sorry, I'll never be a 7.
But how we show up in the world certainly does change, right? Like, think back to when you're 20 and versus now. Like, when you're 20, you might have been a more intense version of your number. Whereas now you have different coping mechanisms, different coping skills that you can use that you're like, okay, I used to think I had to respond that way, but now I know that I don't, and I can choose something different. And so the overarching theory is that we're born with our types. Like kind of inset a little bit. We have like this core essence. Like I look at my siblings and we all had really similar experiences, but we did something different within in our minds,
Mm-hmm.
like in the way that we responded to them, the way that we remember them, the way that we reacted to them, whether or not we had trauma around them. So that is kind of like the overarching theory. So it's like not nature versus nurture. It's kind of both.
Okay.
Mhm.
And let's dumb it down for anybody that's listening right now, like so that you can sort of relate to your number, if that's even a thing. Like, cause I looked online and each number has like a archetype with that goes with it. So can you kind of walk us through just quickly on each number so whoever's listening can kind of be like, oh, I think I might
Yeah,
resonate with
like
that.
a basic.
Yeah. So I will say most people resonate to some extent with every number when they first hear them.
Okay.
Not all people. A lot of like nines do, for example. Threes,
Derek's nodding.
threes do too.
He's like, I am all of you.
Yeah, that actually is part of the
You're
Enneagram
so
theory.
That's a
full
9.
of life and
That's such a
personality,
9.
little sweetie.
Yeah.
Are we starting with 9 and going backwards?
So we're gonna start with 8. So if you once everyone gets the book, they'll see that's how it's organized. So yeah, so the body types, these types are oriented around um, this underlying feeling of rage or anger that's under the
Mm.
surface, but they each do something different with it. So eights are okay with it. They embrace it. They use it as energy and passion, intensity. Nines repress it. They don't want to experience it. And so they kind of keep it out.
Yeah,
What do you
that.
mean by body types? Because I read it in your book, but for those people
Yeah.
that don't understand what you're categorizing these numbers and
Right.
body types
Sorry.
for, what is that? No, you're such an
So
expert. We're
It's
like,
really cool. I love this
it's
stuff.
so cool.
so it's kind of one of those interesting things that's repeated in other modalities, right? Where we have body, mind, and heart intelligence. So when we look at the Enneagram, if we zoom out from the individual types, we can see the intelligence centers. So we have the body center, the heart intelligence center, and the mind intelligence center. It doesn't mean that that's like where all of your brains lie essentially, but like it's a way of seeing it a little bit differently. And I think a lot of people, once they understand their intelligence center a little bit more, they can kind of grasp some different things. So themes around the
Wait,
body center.
is it
Mhm.
sort of like how you orient to information? Like, let's say someone's like, oh, they feel it in their body more
Yeah,
versus
it's
they're a thinker and they're processing information in their brain more. I feel like I'm constantly living in my mind, in my head, and I have to push my attention down into my body.
It's true because she's a
yeah.
mind. She's
I'm a
the mind
mind. I'm
one.
a 7. I have to
And
always push myself
I'm a
down.
heart. I'm like I react. I'm an emotions type person. I'm a heart. So that
And
is
Derek,
and Derek, we're all 3
body.
different.
So
Your
we've got all
body.
3. Okay, cool. All
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
right, we're
And
getting framework.
also when I was watching the Traitors, I was like, I feel like Parvati has to be a mind type.
Why?
I
Just
don't know. There was
watching
just
it?
something I was like, there's just something about the way that you're like processing things. I was like, oh yeah, that feels very natural
And so
to
the
me.
mind types, what numbers are those? A 7,
5, 6, and 7.
5, 6, and 7.
Okay, easy to remember.
Yeah. So
All right.
8, 9, and 1. So they have this underlying rage or anger, but overall the themes are about autonomy, boundaries. They like to have some sense of structure, even if it doesn't mean like that they're really structured, regimented people. They like to kind of, they don't want other people to kind of usurp their authority, like and push them and like walk all over them. They don't like
That's my
that.
husband, by the way. He's an 8 and he's a challenger. And I was like reading the book and I'm like, oh, of course, he's a challenger.
I have the biggest problems with an 8.
That's so funny.
Okay,
Um,
I'm like, how? Well, I
But
have
I
so
like
many
Nick a
questions,
lot.
but
Yeah.
we'll go through all 8 or all 9 of them, and
yeah.
then I will ask. I'll
Okay.
deep dive on my husband. Okay.
So
8, 9, and 1.
yeah,
Body
so
type.
eights are motivated by this need to be against. And it's not against to be just needlessly contrarian, but to kind of push back on things and to show, hey, I have this tough exterior, I have this strength. You cannot overpower me. And they're avoiding being weak or vulnerable. And so they show mostly the tough exterior. When you get to know them, you see a different side.
Do you find that this is gender based as well? Like, are more men inclined to be 8s?
I don't find that, but I find that we're socialized to tamp down different versions of ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh,
So when eights are women, they tend to get a lot of feedback about how they're too harsh or too abrasive, too too bossy, any of that.
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right. So 9s, you've done 8s a
Mhm.
little bit. 9s are the
The
Derek's.
Derek's.
Yeah, so they're motivated by this need to be at peace internally and externally. So they really keep the outside world out, the inside world in, and they create comfort and safety and peace for themselves. And they want to avoid being the cause of discord or disconnection.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they can be very relational, but they also have an independent streak where they're easygoing. But if you try to push them around, that's when you're going to find that streak where they're like, oh, absolutely do not tread on me. That's when
Ooh, okay,
contact,
I
good
can
to
see
know. I
that. He
like
does
that.
get a little
He's
spicy.
fierce. Okay, good. And then number
yeah.
1s.
So they're motivated by a need to be morally and ethically good, like not to be good at things, but to be a good person.
Mm.
And they're avoiding being wrong and being the last to know when they're wrong or being corrupt. And so they kind of have these ways of looking at the world that they have like these strict boundaries and procedures for themselves. As long as I don't step outside these lines, I know that I won't make a mistake or I won't be wrong. And they turn all their anger inward. So all the anger that eights show that they're comfortable with, ones have as well, but they turn it inward as an inner critic.
Oh, so do they tend maybe
Mhm.
towards depression more often? Ones?
Certainly rumination, and ruminating on their kind of inner flaws and things like that.
Do you think that this would be Peter from the Traitors?
I don't know. I've wondered that. I feel like it could be I feel like he's hard to place though, and I know I didn't like him on his season of The Bachelor either.
Oh, poor Peter.
Um,
He got a bad
I
rap on
know.
that one. I never watched a
I think
season
he's
of The
still
Bachelor.
finding himself, to be honest.
He is,
Well,
but
yeah.
yeah, in Traitors, he wouldn't be a traitor. So I feel like he was trying to be really good and moral, like
Yeah,
a one
Yeah.
would
yeah, he's a
be,
1 for sure.
you
Yeah,
know?
that's
I always wondered though what would have happened if he had been
right.
chosen as a traitor from the beginning.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know if
Like
he would have
how
done it. I think he would have lost his little crazy little
You would have
mind.
been a totally different character on there for sure.
yeah,
I think you would have been a liar. You know, it's like you have to lie as a
yeah,
traitor.
you
So
have to.
yeah, your path is different.
Yeah, Enneagram ones should not be traitors. We
Okay,
should
let's
talk
talk to
to Peacock
casting. Yeah.
about this.
But I also think that not all ones have the same moral and ethical code.
Okay.
So if a one can wrap their minds around like this, my code is like, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do in this game to win, then maybe they could wrap their minds around it.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. All
Okay.
right. You've
So then we
done
have heart types.
okay.
Okay, this is you,
Yeah.
cutie.
Me and
So the
Stephanie.
heart
Okay.
types, yep, have underlying shame or sadness. And this really is about this theme of identity and image. So they feel like I have lost a sense of identity that I wish that I could recoup or reclaim. And I'm out here looking for it. So they ask a lot of questions like, who am I? Or um, like, who am I really? That's another big question.
Amy's
Or
feeling
what
really seen right now.
Yeah, so twos are motivated by this need to be loved and wanted and needed. And they believe that they can best reclaim that sense of image or identity by showing the world, hey, I am this lovable, likable person that makes you feel great, gives you this great sense of positive rapport, and then get that mirrored back.
Amelia is nodding. Oh my
We have
God, people
Amelia in
are
here, and
feeling so
she's a
seen.
2, and so, yeah, it's
Okay.
so I'm like, anybody listening needs to take this test so you can hear
And
and
look,
feel it
everyone's
yourself.
got tears in their eyes. I think this is really the power of the Enneagram is showing the things that we've maybe hidden to even ourselves about
Yeah.
ourselves because we might be
Yeah,
embarrassed or ashamed of these
yeah.
things or feel shy.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's nice to have it be
Yeah.
spoken out loud.
Thank you for doing this,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
And it's also, we have to create that safe space for each other to be able to explore it, because when we don't and we weaponize it, then that is where we go wrong, and it can be hurtful at times too. So I always like to reiterate that with people.
Yeah.
But so then twos are avoiding being discarded or rejected. And sometimes just saying, like, hey, no, I don't need your help with that, thanks, can feel like rejection for a two.
I feel like that's my
Because
daughter. She is
Mm.
so sensitive to rejection. I would say the word no, like she would be trying to color on the walls with a permanent marker. And I'd be like, hey, let's don't do that. And she would sprint off and hide under
That's Blake too,
her
yeah.
Oh,
ladder in her room. And I'm like, oh, you would think that I don't even know.
Is
Like
there an Enneagram
stole her
test for
favorite toy.
kids?
Yes.
Because I was gonna I don't wanna do it on my daughter because it was like, "Are you sad at time?" And it's like,
yeah.
yeah, they
Yeah.
all have
He's
big
like, yes, of
feelings.
course, mom.
So there's not a test for kids?
Not that I'm aware of. I know some people do talk about it with kids a little bit more. I kind of am a proponent of letting them, you know, figure it out for themselves and
Yeah.
discover that. Sometimes I think with parenting it could be helpful, but
Yeah, we have no map. We're trying
There's
to
no
right.
figure this out
guide.
on the
Yeah.
fly.
We're like,
I'm like, you're a 2, I'm a 7. How are we ever going to connect?
You're so
Yeah,
funny.
it can be challenging.
Okay.
Um,
2s.
so then 3,
Oh, 3s. Okay.
let's talk about us. So
Amy loves
Haven't we
this
had
right
fun?
here. Tell me about myself.
yeah, we're motivated by this need to be successful, and productive and impressive. But when I talk about success, it's not necessarily just like having a flashy car or whatever. It's more about whatever success means to that individual, 3, to their family of origin, to their surrounding people, um, kind of shaping themselves into that image. And threes are in the heart center in that they use their emotional awareness to go and attune to everyone in the room and figure out, who do I need to be with this person
Yep. That's why I'm a
to
good producer.
This is also why you would be so good on Survivor.
Oh, you think?
Yes,
But
you would
I'm hungry.
crush.
I'm hangry. I don't think I could do Survivor.
That you
Sitting
could
down.
overcome that. We'll teach you how to go into your mind
Oh,
space
I don't know, honey.
out of your
People
body.
watch the fuck out. I'm a Leo too, Stephanie. So that's
This
also
is what I write about
yeah,
this in my book. And I'm like, oh my God, dissociating is my superpower. I can leave my body so easily. That's why I'm so good
yeah,
at Survivor. You just have to starve. You just leave your body.
I
No
don't know
problem.
how you
You
do
just do
this.
endurance challenges. You just leave your body. It's all good.
Well, you
Like,
need to do some
yeah.
training on
yeah.
this. No wonder I
Well, I
can't.
can help you get there.
Okay.
Full dissociation.
Okay. All right.
And then we're avoiding being a failure, because threes really identify with failure, like really identify with not just I failed, but I am a failure,
Oh.
because they're searching for some identity.
Isn't it crazy though,
Mm.
Stephanie? Do you ever say like I don't fail? Like I always catch myself saying that, like I don't fail, but it's like I do fail and I learn from my failures, but I like to think in my head I don't fail. Like I'm like I'm going to make it work, whatever it is. Like with
Yeah.
fertility, I really tried so hard to get pregnant with my second kid and it took 4 years and I'm like how am I not doing this? You know what I mean? Like that was really hard for me because I
Yeah.
typically try to get whatever I can whenever I want, you
And you
know?
couldn't
Yeah.
muscle your way to
No.
success for
Yeah.
that one.
For
You can't just like let it happen. That can be difficult.
yeah.
And I think threes, one, only do things that they already know they're good at, or they reframe like failure, like block it out of their minds. I've been asked in interviews, like job interviews or whatever before, um, talk about a time when you failed. That's such a classic question.
Yeah.
And being like, ooh, I can't remember any right now. Not
Yeah.
because I never have, but because sometimes failure for me feels more like on a day-to-day level. Oh, like I can see all the inefficiencies in my day and I failed today because I didn't do everything perfectly.
Yeah, I didn't cross
versus
anything
like,
off. Yeah.
Oh my
yeah,
God, you
I know.
guys, that is so
I
much
know.
It's a really
pressure.
hard way to live.
This is why Amy has 3 kids. It's like, oh, she's like, she can't have one. She's like, watch me, life. I'm gonna have
I
3.
know, but then I can't get anything done all day. So then I'm failing all day, every day because I have 3 kids and I'm like, I mean, how am I breathing? You know, but
Yeah.
no,
How do you deal with that?
being here in this podcast is very helpful. It's so nice.
For threes in general, one thing that can be really helpful is detaching the outcome from the process. So getting really into the process and letting go of the results
Mm.
can be
That's why I
really
told
useful.
Amy to stop looking at how many people are listening to our podcast.
I care.
said,
I'm like,
don't.
she's like, no, who cares? Like,
I
we're
know.
doing this for us and this is gonna be great. And honestly, but it's gratifying. I'm like, whoa, look at this. Like it's
Yeah, there's a lot
fun.
of people listening, so it's
Yeah. So
great.
I
But
get
if there
excited.
was 2 people listening, how would you feel?
I'd be like, we gotta get better. We need
But
to
Those
be
2
better.
people love it.
Just kidding. All
Yeah,
right.
it's challenging. And then we have fours who are motivated by this need to be and express their truest, most authentic self. So they're always plumbing the depths of their psyche, looking for more understanding or more just like what's happening down there and the emotion. They kind of always feel like there's more to discover, more to know about themselves. And they're avoiding,
And they're
yeah,
avoiding.
being fake or inauthentic or insignificant, like that they don't really matter. So they're kind of always putting their special touch on everything.
This is so interesting. So it sounds like the Enneagram type is sort of a reaction to what we're avoiding inside
Yeah.
ourselves. Like we
Mhm.
create this persona or this mode of operating based on what we don't want to experience internally.
Whoa.
Yikes.
Yeah.
What's mine?
And so one of
Yeah. Adventure.
one of like the inner work pieces that we can do around it is to integrate these 2 sides, like to integrate like, okay, well maybe for one, maybe there are times when I'm a little bit unethical, or maybe there are times when I'm wrong, and integrating that in a non-judgmental way into our identity versus just being like, no, I absolutely can't look at that side of myself.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's really cool. I've done a lot of, we call it shadow work. And
Mhm.
the shadow, whatever the shadow is sort of whatever we don't like about ourselves that we can kind of push off into the darkest basement inside ourselves. So we never have to look at it.
Mm.
But that actually ends up running your life because whatever you're
Right.
afraid to look at inside of you is what you're avoiding. So you just do everything else in your life, you make the choices in your life to avoid that thing that you don't want to look at. So it actually ends up being in charge of you and controlling you until you
face
can
it.
pull whatever's in the shadow out, look at it in the light, bring it up. You're going to have feelings about this. You're going to probably be ashamed or cry or whatever, or grieve, maybe be mad about some of this stuff. But once you can look at it, you liberate yourself. You're
Yeah, it loses the
free.
power.
That
Mhm.
must feel really good,
Yes.
by the way, to have that freeing feeling. Cause I'm like, I don't like feeling heavy. And I did hypnotherapy once and it was like, it made me feel light. I was like, wow. But it was,
Yeah, you're so
yeah, you go into the
free.
shadow and you're like, whoa, this is wild. Okay. This
Okay,
is
cool.
all so
I
cool.
see how this
So
weaves
cool.
in with like Jungian philosophy
Mhm.
in that
Yeah.
way.
Mhm. Um, and I do know people too who use it with IFS, like parts work,
Mhm.
and they some people who even consider the Enneagram type a part. Um, but I'm not an expert on that, so
I could see that. I've been working on that too. It's super fun. All these different parts that we have inside of ourselves. It's internal family system. So basically, you have a whole family operating inside of you. You've got a
Like the
mother, a
movie Inside Out.
child, a lover, a fighter, a
Oh,
protector, a judger, all these different kinds of pieces inside of you. And they run the show. So you really want to get to know
Mhm.
them.
oh my
It's
gosh.
kind of cool.
Okay. I
Yeah.
need to do a whole therapy session with
Yeah,
you.
I'll help you out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So then we have the mind types. So 5, 6, and 7. And these types have these themes around
Fun.
really strategy. Like
Ah,
they're very strategic, analysis, and then they just like to puzzle through things in their minds constantly. And all of them really have this experience of what you were saying earlier, Parvati, of like, I feel like I just have my mind and I forget that I have a body. Or some people will say, I just feel like I'm a head on a stick.
Mm.
Like, that's it, you know? But the underlying emotion for these types is fear. So they do different things to mitigate fear and not feel it. So fives are motivated by this need to be self-sufficient and capable and competent. And they do that by decreasing their needs. So they kind of don't want to need or want anything from the world around
This is
them.
my sister's boyfriend. He just took the test last night
Eh,
and he is such a giver.
oh,
He's from Italy. He flew over here. He's been staying with her for a few weeks. They came over. It was her 40th birthday. He brought piles of pasta, all these vegetables, all these sauces, spices, made this incredible spread. And he was just working and giving.
self-sufficient.
He's so
Yeah.
sweet. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Go on.
Okay, but
Um,
isn't Elon Musk also a 5? That's what
Wait, I'm sorry.
I know.
Now I'm
Sorry.
scared.
well, so not all fives are like givers in that sense, and a lot of them actually aren't.
Oh,
But the thing is that there's a cultural overlay, right? So a five from Italy would be different from a five from New York City.
oh,
So we always have to think about that.
okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So fives are really they want to be self-sufficient because they feel like if I need anything from anyone else, people will intrude upon me. And their worst case scenario, what they're avoiding is being intruded upon and being depleted. And they feel like I don't know how much you're going to want or need from me, and I will be depleted
Hmm.
at the end of the day. And so they kind of wake up every day with a certain amount of mental or emotional energy that they have.
Yeah. This is so
I
interesting.
like a 5 now.
You
Like,
want to be
yeah,
a five?
yeah, because I want to be able to say no. Like this is my max, you know. But I am not that person. I'm always like,
You can learn boundaries.
put it on me. Yeah. Okay.
We'll get you
Yeah,
there.
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Yeah,
Not
and
here,
that's so
20.
important.
I know, I'm doing that. I'm signing up. What's the link, Parvati?
um yeah, so and fives tend to be very cerebral, very introverted. This is like the one type where I feel comfortable saying that like most of them are introverted versus extroverted. And they are really focused on their own levels of energy and creating margin in their lives. Um so they also like to isolate, like self-isolate. So you might just be like, "Hey, where did they go?" Maybe they went home.
Courtney.
Maybe they just, like, retreated to some area of the house so that they could just be alone for a while and not be intruded upon.
Mm,
Yeah.
I
Um,
know this type.
Luxury. Yeah.
I know this type very much.
Okay.
Okay.
so then sixes are really interesting because they different sixes react really differently to fear. So, in general, they're motivated by this need for certainty and to escape any sense of uncertainty. But the problem is the closer they get to feeling certain, the further away it becomes because there's always more information. So fives are really digging for like data and information. Sixes do that too, but um, not as much as fives typically. And sixes do it to feel more certain about things. So some sixes, they see fear and they're like, okay, I'm going to move away from that. I'm going to make a plan to mitigate it. I'm going to create spreadsheets and charts and everything so that I can make sure, I know how to make decisions about this and all that sort of thing. Other sixes, they see fear and they move toward it. So this feels like very stereotypical to me, but every time I teach this, a six is like, yep, I did that. So sixes who are afraid of heights go skydiving, for example. Some sixes. So this is what we call a counterphobic six.
Hmm.
So some are phobic, meaning they move away from the fear, and some are counterphobic, meaning they move toward it.
It's
And those,
exposure therapy. I am a big fan of
You
this.
like that.
I want to push
yeah,
people off a cliff. I'm like, you gotta face your fears because then they don't
yeah,
control you anymore. You can't be controlled
right,
by your fear.
She's
yeah,
7. I love it.
yeah.
Okay.
And so those counterphobic sixes, they
Exposure therapy.
look like eights on the outside. Like other people are
Mm.
like, oh, they're so contrarian. They're so, sixes are the biggest contrarians though. like they always like have a little bit, oh, but did you do this? Or just make sure you do that. Or, did you think about it this way? They always have a question.
I know I do. I'm
I'm
kidding.
married to a six, so
This is also familiar. I am biting my tongue from saying people's
I
names
know.
right now.
I know.
these types are really avoiding being stranded, like without any kind of people around them. Like if you imagine, you know, it actually happens a lot on reality TV shows where it's like, okay, we're in a group, we're going together, we have like this alliance, we're moving forward, and then everyone else drops off and the six is standing there left alone. That is their worst case scenario.
That's DK. That was CK
On Deal or No
on
Deal
Deal or
Island.
No Deal Island.
No, this is so fascinating because I think like a good casting director has an array of all of them, but like the best TV is probably a six, probably
If they
an
get excellent.
8. Like they're kind of
Mhm.
real verbal. I think like another good TV is obviously a 7. They're strategic. All these mind the
Yeah.
5, 6, and 7s. That's strategy mind. It's like they could win the game, right?
Right.
Like these people
Well, and I think
are prepared.
yes, but also fives are so difficult to show on TV and to depict because all of their processing is happening internally. So they don't really verbally process very much. And so to get a five to say stuff like in like those like ITM,
Yeah,
little
interview.
interviews,
Mhm.
like
Oh,
they're
it's
not
so
going
much
to
work.
say enough.
It's so much work. No, it's gonna take a long interview to get it, but
Yeah.
or a cocktail. But I do think like 3s, like the heart ones, those are your emotional players. Those are the people that are
Yeah.
like crying in interview or like raging, they're mad, like they just have so much emotion.
Yeah. Those ones are fun for me to work with.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you
I
go.
love an emotional player.
Yeah.
I'm like, come to mama.
Yeah.
I wish
Yep.
it was more like horoscopes where you can kind of figure it out based on their birthday, but you can't.
I
Someone
know.
has to
You
actually
really
take
can't.
the quiz.
Quiz, yeah.
Hounding
Yeah.
people like to take this quiz has been so annoying because it's like a 20-minute quiz,
Yeah.
And most of the quiz sites, they're like, okay, I did it for 20 minutes, and then I'm like, wait, now I have to pay to like find my.
I
So I
know.
found one
So
free one,
don't do
thankfully.
that. Just take the free one or read
So
your
I
book.
actually have on my website, I have like a how to find your type thing. So you can there also is a quiz in the book.
Yeah.
Either way. So like what I tell people, if you can take one of the free ones and then get my like free download and it will
Okay.
interpret your results. So all you have to know is like the pie chart that it gives you.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Okay,
And then it'll like
great.
lead
Good
you down
resource.
how to do that. So then
Okay,
we have
great.
sevens. Last but
Yay!
not least.
They're the
Last
best.
but not least.
So sevens are motivated by this need to be free to explore the world of possibilities. Like they just think the options are limitless and they're like anything could happen. Like sixes also think
really feel
anything
that.
could happen but in a bad way. So
Oh,
I love
wait.
this example because I was explaining to a seven in my life what sixes think, like how sixes think. And I was like this person said, I'm a glass half full type of person. And I'm like, yes, sevens are glass half full, but sixes think, okay, the glass might be half full, but it could shatter at any moment and it might be full of poison. Like, you just
It
don't know.
might be full of poison.
The 7 will never think the glass is gonna
The
shatter.
7 will give you the glass full of poison.
Yeah.
And be like, this will be fun. What's going to happen?
Let's see what happens.
So sevens are really after mental stimulation. So they're very cerebral, but they let people think that they are just like here for a fun time.
Wow.
So they have like all of this kind of intensity beneath the surface, but they just seem like, oh, I'm just bubbly, I'm fun, whatever. But they're avoiding being trapped in pain or boredom, and boredom can feel physically painful. For
Boredom.
sevens.
Oh my God, it
I know.
actually is. And when you said the words being trapped, I felt it in my body.
They're the worst phobia.
No.
Yeah.
I have been trapped in a bathroom before, and Stephanie, oh my God, the panic that I experience of going into an elevator or a bathroom, the doors closing. I'm like,
You're like, I'm gonna be bored in here
I'm
for
gonna
how
die.
long?
I'm gonna die. Someone's gonna have to pry me out.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so stressful.
You're not optimistic about
But also, no, and that does not feel like an adventure to me.
it?
Yeah. Well, so sevens also think like somebody, a 7 that I was talking with calls it, I at least myself to death. So like I spilled coffee on my pants this morning, but at least I wasn't wearing white pants.
Mm.
Oh,
Um, so like this happened, but at least it wasn't this. So that's like reframing constantly to think
Toxic
about things
positivity would be
positively.
called.
Yeah,
Toxic
there you
positivity.
go.
I have that.
oh
Everything
God.
is always great and fine.
Well, that's how I produce. I'm always like, great news. Like to my seniors, I'm always like, great news.
Mhm.
The kitchen's on fire, but no one knows or
And
whatever,
no
you know.
one
Yeah.
has been burned
But
to
it's
death yet.
great. There's great news here. Yeah.
Right.
Look at
Well,
this.
that is something 3s and 7s have in common is the reframing and the optimism. Like we
Mm,
can turn this. We could
yeah,
change this into something
Look,
else.
I
So,
think it's a superpower. Like,
it is.
because then you
yeah.
can move through obstacles in life and not get shut down or stalled out or stop. But
Yeah.
then, so when you're saying, okay, you're different, like I've matured in my 7ness because when I was in my 20s, impulsivity was a problem, like
Yeah.
commitment phobia. I couldn't hunker down in anything. Like, and I would make friends with other 7s, I think, and we would just spin around like Tasmanian devils.
Yeah.
And I would like never go to work. And then I would be like at Sundance in Park City. And I would be like, oh, I have a shift today. And I would be like, oh, sorry, I'm not going to make it
I
back for my
forgot.
shift. But my bosses loved me so much that they would always accept me back. So I was like, oh, this works out for me.
It
It's
always
Yeah.
works out for
fine.
her. It always works out.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, wait. So also, I want to know, how does this help people in relationships?
Yeah.
Are there types that should just not be in a relationship together?
Yeah, like horoscopes.
Like an 8 and a 3? I'm just kidding.
That's actually a very common type pairing. But
We are opposites, yes.
no, I don't think that certain types should not be together. I think any type pairing can work if you're both willing to work on yourselves, to look at yourselves, to be kind to each other and respectful of each other. Like any type pairing can work. What can be really useful is recognizing, okay, I'm assigning my behavior to or my motivation to my partner's behavior. So like when they do this thing, maybe they're really quiet today. I'm assuming, oh, they're angry, you know. So I'm just like assigning that motivation to them instead of being curious of like what else could be going on with them. Maybe they're tired, maybe they're thinking, maybe they're processing something, maybe they're having a bad day at work and allowing them to, share with me and allowing myself to be curious about it. So, um for example, so my husband is a 6. We've been together since
I'm shocked.
Yeah, way to bury the lead.
so we've been together since 2010. And so he like 6s have a really hard time figuring out their type. Like they have a very difficult time because they're always second guessing and doubting and can't figure it out. So he went around like all the different types. Um, and I really had to step out of that process and let him have his own thing because I was realizing like, oh, I'm getting way too like managey of his situation there.
Such a
Yeah, you're
3.
so attached.
Yeah.
Ugh, get it together,
She's
6.
like, finish it. Finish the job.
Right. So I it made me realize like because I would be like, oh, I'm gonna do this fun new thing in my business or whatever. And he'd be like, he'd start asking questions. And I was like, he thinks I can't do it. Like he
Mm.
thinks I'm incapable because I was really internalizing,
Yeah.
those questions as feedback that he thought I couldn't. And then what I realized is once we found out he was a 6, I was like, oh, no, no, no. It's actually that he is like just has fear kind of constantly running under the surface. And he wants to make sure that I don't get hurt or I don't like he wants to protect me from that feeling of failure. He knows what it's like when I fail and how hard that is for me. So he wants to protect me from it. So he's asking questions to try to like kind of hedge the bets a little bit and protect and all that stuff. And so it changed my perspective of that behavior and I was able to see it a little bit differently. And that was so helpful for our relationship because then I could be like, "Oh, I think that you're projecting a lot of fear right now." And he would be like, "Oh yeah, I am."
Oh,
And then
wow.
And then I would be like, okay, well, I'm internalizing it as you doubting me. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not doubting you. And so having those open conversations about that was so helpful.
Right.
Wow, this is
So,
big
like, if
stuff.
somebody wanted to speak with you about their relationship, could they book you, like,
Yeah.
and their partner, even though it's not necessarily a relationship based,
Yeah.
therapy? I think that's so you help people like that. Oh, cool.
Yeah. I've done
Calling Nick.
couples coaching.
Kidding.
Nick and
No,
Amy
my
are
husband's a challenger, and I'm like, maybe I'm a Leo, but I'm like, why are you questioning that like all the time? It's like so annoying because he's just, you know, he's very strong opinionated, and I
Mhm.
appreciate it actually a lot of the time because I'm like, I
Yeah.
like people that make quick decisions and have an opinion and things. So like for the most part, but when he's questioning me or challenging me, I'm like, what?
beat it,
Wrong person.
bro.
So
Yeah.
how do I understand that he's not trying to get under my skin, but how do I respectfully, be nice about it? Because I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's how
Well,
I
and
would.
also recognizing eights want to protect their closest people. So sometimes they're telling you what to do because they're like, I just think this is how,
To keep you safe.
you'll be protected. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Being like, okay, I understand that motivation. And I also have a different perspective. And sometimes eights can also be the person who's like, for a three, be like, hey, there needs to be a boundary here. Like, you are taking on way too much. And that can
Yes,
be good.
no, that was our whole weekend thing. He's like, you just say yes to everything, and then you're exhausted and kind of depleted, and it's true. And I'm like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not.
You're like cross-eyed,
Yeah.
stumbling around in the dark.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Oh, this is just so I could talk about
Helpful.
this forever. Like
I
this
know,
is
it's so
so interesting.
interesting. Well, okay.
Wait,
Thank you.
I want to
Wait.
know about two people that are the same type. Like, are they
Yeah.
compatible? Do they work well together?
Yeah, that happens most often, I'd say, with 2s and 9s that I've
Not with
seen,
Evan.
but not as much. I feel like that's a tough one. I do know a few couples who are both 7s,
What
and
happens to them?
well, I think it
So-
depends on how willing you are to, like, work on yourself, right? Um, People say that 7s are non-committal, but a lot of 7s, like, have lifelong friends that they've had for forever, or, like, they have this really close chosen family, or they, um maybe even are in the same partnership, the same relationship. But what can be challenging for 7s is working through conflict because it feels hard
Mm,
and they want
Mm,
to feel good. They want
right.
to feel happy.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
The 7 couples that I know, so in the book, you'll see that I talk a lot about subtypes, which is another deeper level of the Enneagram. And so it just shows subtypes a lot more. So you'll have different subtypes of type 7 in the same relationship. And I think people lean into their subtype more.
oh, interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I have worked on, I really had so much judgment on myself for breaking up with people so quickly and like leaving relationships and whatever. And in college, I had a boyfriend for 3 years. And then after college, but we broke up like 16 times and just kept getting back together
Yeah.
because he wanted to be together. And I was like, I don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't want to break his heart. It was
Mm.
like, that's really hard for me to feel like I'm hurting
Yeah.
someone. So then I would get back together and I was like, I don't actually want to be in this. And then I
Mhm.
would finally end it and leave. And then I'm like, I don't want to be in another relationship like that. So then I just wouldn't be in a relationship
She's
forever. I'm
like,
like,
that didn't feel
I'll
good.
just date around and it's fine. But then I can commit to, like you're saying, friendships, chosen family. Like my daughter has fairy godmothers that
So
are
rad.
like in our lives, and we have family dinners every Mondays or Tuesdays. And I've written a book, and that took me 2.5 years. So I was really
Mhm.
committed to that. So I know I can commit.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
You are
I
she's
can do
committed
it.
to this. I think you look for a little bit of structure, to be honest.
But I also look for challenge
Yeah.
because I want
Yeah.
to be working through something. I think that's why I'm drawn to those reality shows too, because they're so
Yeah.
intense and crazy.
It's
It's a fun
puzzling. It's
challenge.
problem solving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she
But
has the
maybe we're
strategy
not.
mind. I think
Yeah,
you need to
maybe.
continue. I don't
But I
think you
think
okay.
like relationships, this is what I've loved about our podcast is we've had different kinds of people on the podcast who are living in their own way and sort of challenging the norms of this is what society says we have to do for relationships and family and life. And I think that's really fun for me because I think when you embrace your type and you're just like accepting of yourself,
Mhm.
You know, I might be impulsive and fine. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
think it's really beneficial in like relationships and work and just your life and understand and not being so hard on yourself and so critical.
Mhm.
I think that's like really the takeaway for me is like knowing like, you know what? Don't worry about how it's going to end. Just live in it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Stephanie Barron Hall, this is so cool. Thank you so much for meeting with us today. This is like so insightful. I think our listeners are really going to benefit from your book and from taking the test on your website.
Yeah, you might
because-
get some couples coming into you for therapy. First of all, Amy and Nick.
but where can they find you online? And where can they find your book?
Yeah. So you can find my book anywhere books are sold, online specifically. I also read the audiobook, which is really fun.
Nice.
So that's a great way to read it too for people who are like, I don't have time to sit down and read this. Get the audiobook. So my website is 9types.co. And then my Instagram is 9typesco. And I also have a podcast called Enneagram in Real Life, where I interview all Enneagram types and I interview other experts because my philosophy is, okay, the Enneagram tells us, this information, but then how do we actually do inner work or whatever on those different pieces of information we've learned? So I've had therapists on or people who are experts in IFS or meditation or all these different topics that support our Enneagram work. So that's where you can find me. And thanks so much for having me.
Oh, you're the best.
I
Well, enjoy
know.
Sacramento. And if you decide to move back to LA, let us know.
Thanks so
Well,
much.
Amy's looking for new
Let us know.
friends.
No, no, no. I like threes. I'm like, wait, why are you getting rid of threes?
No, we're great.
We're all here. I get it. Okay. All
All
right.
right. Well,
Well, you
thank you,
take care,
Steph.
Stephanie. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay,
Bye.
bye. Oh, I love Stephanie.
I know. She's great. Okay, good.
Okay. Well, now I'm really excited.
Me too. This is my like. It's so funny when I produce these shows. I'm like, these are my friends. Lauren Jean from
Million Dollar
from
Secret.
Million Dollar Secret. I was like, the Midwest. There's so many ways we want to intro you.
The OG millionaire.
Hi.
Crazy. Hi.
Girl, thank you for joining us. I watched
Yes.
this show. I watched your work and I was like, oh, she's good. You were
Who
so
knew?
cute. Oh my God, you were so cute, but like you were having such the biggest moral dilemma
Oh, my
during the
gosh.
show, lying. What made it so hard for you?
Oh man. I mean, I think ultimately it was that I've been raised to be honest and to tell the truth, and like the truth sets you free, and like honesty is the best policy. Like these are the things that I have been taught my whole life. Like those are my values. Those are very, upper Midwest small town values of like just do the right thing and be good to people and good things will come to you. So I mean, and I raise my kids the same way. My 11-year-old is your biggest fan. So hi, Parvati. She loves you so much. So yeah, I think that just that in my head and needing to turn that down, the volume on that down, and turn up the competitive part of me, which I thought was really small. Turns out it's there more than I thought.
You were so good in those missions.
That's my favorite part of the hugs.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
oh my gosh.
the hug
I'm such a
time.
try hard. I'm like, I don't even think I'm gonna be that good at it. But then it was like the like overachiever in me is like, I've been
She's
given a
Enneagram 3?
mission.
You're a 3.
Well, she's a heart type. Okay, because we just interviewed
Ooh.
Stephanie Barron Hall, and
Okay.
she gave the Enneagram types. But you said you self-diagnosed yourself as an Enneagram 4. What do you
I
think
did.
you are? Really
So
quick
I've
before.
done like the online off-brand, like Temu version of the test. And I think that I am a 4 according to that. And before that, I think I was raised a 2. Like, I think that I thought I was this 2 of like really needing to caretake and like kind of mother everybody. But I do have much more like, I want to be unique. I want to be different. And I think that that's what was coming through of like, I really like to be able to pull something off that maybe not many people could do. I think that's where it was coming from, is like, look, I can be a little weirdo and they don't even notice.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, you were so good at being a little weirdo. I wanted you to stay longer. I wanted you to keep the money. I was like, oh, just hold. If she
know.
if she would only just have one friend, I think if you had a friend in there that you could just vent to.
I
She
know.
did, but they had to go after each other. And as a producer, I was like, oh my God, these two, her and Say Young,
yeah,
were
Say
like
Young.
besties.
But you couldn't
And
be honest with her. That's
No.
what I'm saying.
No,
She
Couldn't
had
be
the
honest
right
with
to be honest.
anybody, and that sucked. Yeah.
that was hard.
Isolation of knowing that I'm the millionaire and I can't say anything. That was a question I've been getting, is like, were you not allowed to say it? That is part of the game. I could not say it. If I
like being
could
a traitor,
say it, I think I could have been there longer. I don't think I would have given it away had I been able to vent, right? But I couldn't. So
Yeah.
it's a solo game.
Right.
Right.
I think that is what makes this game unique compared to all the other reality shows out there, is it is so isolating for the millionaire.
And the thing with
Yes.
Lauren is she is such a fun, like the reason why you were cast on the show is because you are so vibrant, so funny, so charismatic. You're like the Jennifer Lawrence, like you're just so cool.
That's nice.
But it was fun watching you in there. But then as soon as she became the millionaire, I mean, I felt for you because you would go into those interviews and just bawl because she had nowhere else to go. And she's like, this is so hard,
Yeah.
And obviously we didn't play all those,
a
because
wreck.
yeah, there was a ton of them. And I'd be like, just get out there and say you miss your kids. Like, don't worry, no one's
Yeah.
going to know you were crying. But it's hard being like, because, on Traitors, there's multiple traitors. There's one millionaire. So it's you
Yeah.
in the interview space.
It was my one safe space. I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to hide. And once I got in there, I'm like, at least the producers know I freaking hate this and I want out. And I felt like a sitting duck, right? I felt like a sitting duck because of how things played out. And as people watch episodes 1 through 3, it's narrowed down. And that was our own doing. Like, as soon as Say Young throws my name out there as one of the suspected, in an attempt to clear my name, what she does is put me in the group of people that are under suspicion. Oh my gosh.
No good deed goes unpunished.
It was the best TV.
Exactly right.
Thank you, Lauren. I know, because it's a first time series, and I'm like, oh, this is a really cool format. Like, let's put the players in and see how it works. And it worked.
It's great. And I love how people brought the fashion. There's a headband girly there.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Beautiful.
some cute style, and the house that you guys are in is cool. Are you actually staying in the house?
Yes. The
Oh,
room
okay.
that all of my stuff is filmed in is the room that I got. And it's absolutely gorgeous. It was by far the best room, if I do say so myself. And I felt like that alone. It's like, that's like the mom in me that I'm like, I don't need this room. Like, somebody else can have
But
this room.
we actually pulled keys because we want to make it fair. I'm like,
Yes.
I am not going to listen to someone bitching about them getting
Correct.
the wrong room. And you did get lucky. You got the really good room.
I
And
did.
was
It
like,
kind of
perfect,
evened
'cause
out
we
the
have to-
fact that I was the millionaire. It's like, okay, at least like I have all this extra work, but at least I get the best room.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions for you. One is, if you were to do it again, do you think that you could last longer and hold the secret longer now, having played it once before and knowing what is required of you?
Good question. Yes and no. Yes, I think I could have, right? I could have done it longer, or now I have the ability, and I know that I maybe killed it way more as the millionaire than as the non-millionaire.
You did.
Probably. And then I think the no part of me is like, I truly did in the moment what was authentic to me, because I truly did think, if I don't share this, I'm a sitting duck. I'm going to get, we're picking them off one by one of who's left in that group. I'm still in that group. That hasn't cleared me of wasn't chased by the hound. Me. I wasn't chased by the hound. That doesn't clear my name. So I felt like we had to move it. I felt like I had to. And then I sharing it and shot myself in the foot was not well received. However, I think I did what was authentic to me,
I think my husband was watching and he's like, I probably would have shared too, because it gets your name off of the hook. I'm like, I probably wouldn't have. And we always, but then the one thing that he was like, maybe I would have pretended like I shared all of the secret agendas and not have, you know what I mean? Because then it's like, oh, they still now trust you.
100%.
It's so hard in hindsight. I was saying, people, all these fans, I'm sure you're getting like the good and the bad and the ugly online.
Coulda, woulda, shouldas. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're watching as if they're playing too. But
Yeah,
can you just
of
explain what
course.
it's like to actually play and to be a viewer and then to play? Like, what is that like?
Yes. I will never again armchair expert my way into thinking that you know what I would do from home? now that I have no pressure on me. It's
Yep.
very easy to get intellectual about it. And I don't blame them. I've done the exact same thing.
Right.
I will not do that anymore because I've never had all those eyes on me in a moment where I'm like, I'm being my authentic self. I'm going to share this. And then I get kind of clumsy about it or emotional about it or whatever. And then I'm kicking myself in that moment of like, wait, Lauren, shut up. But no, I really want you to know this. And now I'll just be completely honest. But wait, now you're mad at me anyway. I'm going to withhold that. And it's a lot of human interaction happening that in game time, you can't think logically. It just happens how it happens. And I think I can't live with the, well, I should have done this or should have done that. Well, I didn't, right? I didn't. So live and learn, and future millionaires take note.
Have you been able to let it go? It sounds like you have.
Yeah, I'm not a grudge holder. I don't have hate in my heart. That's too heavy. So I think that when I see the ways that people have responded overall, it has been so immensely positive for me personally. Even the things I'm seeing though that are towards other people, and I get is coming from a place of protection of me. I understand that a lot of people saw themselves in my nerdy, quirky self. And I think that when people are trying to defend me, sometimes it comes off as maybe hating somebody else. It is a game. It is a game. I'm okay. Like I'm okay. And I do love the love for me, but I also just need people to know I'm in a really good place. Like, you don't need to hate anybody. I'm fine.
Were you in the public eye before you did this show?
Mildly. So my kids would say like, yeah, because they get stopped at Target or Costco, because I do just
How many eggs do you buy at Costco?
Yeah, you're right. That's like the only two places I go. I'm like, where do I even go? I bulk up on like paper towels and toilet paper. So when I'm doing those things, because it's a family of 5,
I cannot buy, you guys, just to like pause for one moment. I cannot buy paper towels at the regular store. I have to only
what
buy
a
it from
ripoff,
Costco.
right? It is a ripoff. It's a racket if you go anywhere else. You gotta do Costco.
I know.
Seriously.
This is
I'm gonna
sponsored by Costco.
email-
This
I'm gonna
episode.
email Costco. Speaking
Costco,
of.
I'm here for it. Any
Wait,
inquiries?
finish explaining why you
Yes,
get noticed
okay,
at
why
are you
Costco.
getting noticed?
I do regional humorous commentary about being from the Midwest. So I just basically am like a hockey mom that laughs about my own life and quirks. And so that is how I still think when I'm out and about this week. I'm like, oh, they follow me on Instagram. Like if someone, and they're like, your show. And I'm like, my show? What?
Yes.
It's not my show. It's a show. It's great.
No, it is your show.
You
The
kicked
whole
it off.
first 3 episodes is your show. And the way you crushed those agendas was so much fun to watch. And then we watched the other guy get it, and it was like, he didn't even try. It was so boring.
Come on.
Come on.
Everyone has a different game. Honestly, Philip's a smart guy. So it's,
I didn't like it.
I'm excited. I like everyone has their own take. But Lauren, now that you're not in it because you didn't get to watch the rest of it unfold, now are you a viewer? Like, what is this like for you?
Oh, I am so invested. I have so many things that I'm hoping happen, so many theories of what I think might happen. Like I first of all, I do think that people are going to be a little bit more careful about secret agendas, which kind of stinks because I do think that that's what I'm wanting to see is like, how can they pull that off? Right.
They're the best.
They
They are my
have
favorite.
to really want the benefit. The benefit was big time. It was like
I
you
know.
could get 3 extra votes or something. That's
Trade the
huge.
money. That was genius. I mean, I
thought so.
I have a question too. I'm like, we don't know what the rules are as we're watching the show. The rules are sort of unfolding through us watching the show.
Yes.
So how did that work for you guys playing the game?
Anxiety, stress.
No, they didn't know anything going in. So we
Didn't know
we
anything.
want authentic reactions on camera. So it's like when we're meeting you guys in the hotel room, when we're like talking to you on Zoom before you come out, they know nothing. They know there's a little bit of
Zilch.
deceit in there. Yeah, no. So when Peter explains the show to them, at
What
the
did
beginning-
they say to you?
Well, you saw it.
What I remember, is just basically being told it's like predator versus prey, one person against 11 people. Whoever gets it has to hide in plain sight and not draw attention to themselves. And they will have their own secret missions that they are trying to gain power.
But you knew that once Peter told you this.
Correct. Before
Yeah, you
that,
didn't know that.
zero.
When
No.
you said yes to being cast on this show, you were like, I'm just going to go make $1 million.
Leap of faith. I knew there was money involved. I did. Okay. So at that point, I knew that it was $1 million. And my biggest fear is like, is this going to be some sort of like physical challenge, survivor-ish type thing? maybe. And if that was the case, I'm like, I'm done. Like, I'm out right away. They're going to look at me and know that I run like an 11 or 12-minute mile. They're like, bye.
Get it, girl.
That's why
Like
your
class
husband
for gym
Jamie
class.
was so authentic. You're like, give me the mantra of
Yeah, oh, yes,
of
please.
How to do
Please,
this.
I need to be told again, like, calm down. How are you saying it? And it's
You're
like every
genius.
Oh
The
my God,
smash
my
hits.
daughter is a big Taylor Swift fan. So when you said you need to calm down, she watched that with me and she was like, oh, I really like that.
I needed to make sure that it was being picked up. I was like, I don't want anyone to miss that I'm saying these. So I repeated them sometimes. I'm like,
Oh, no.
I said, you need to
And
calm
you
down.
still got
You
away
need to
with it.
calm down. I'm like, did you hear me? I said, you need to calm down.
I know. Because honestly, before we would pull her after Peter would give her the secret mission. We're like, okay, this is really important. We get this on camera. Obviously, we're gonna just try to
Do
not
your
make
thing.
it obvious, but we need to make sure that so be mindful of when you say it that you see a camera around you, because we don't want to follow the millionaire around every second of the thing because it's gonna
Yes.
blow
Yeah.
it. So it's like Lauren was so good at being mindful. It's hard. It's a hard job to have, but it is your job. If you're
I
going to
looked
make
like
$1
a
million,
little
you got to
squirrel
do.
running around. I was just like dropping song lyrics, and I'm shocked. As soon as Peter came up and was like, "The millionaire was able to complete their mission," and it was a smash hit. I'm like, "Peace, toast. I'm toast." Smash hit. Thanks a lot, Peter. I didn't know. I thought like we're going to reveal millionaire information. We're going to reveal something about the millionaire. I thought it was going to be like, oh, they used to be whatever. This is something about their background. Telling what I just freaking did, Peter. I just did that. It's top of mind, Peter. Like, what?
She's like, no, smashing avocado.
You have no
someone
friends
got
in this
something
show.
Smashed. Yeah.
Did you feel like a little kid? This is my theory in these games when especially if it's like good guys versus bad guys kind of a thing, and it's groupthink, and I feel like it regresses us to childhood where we become middle schoolers, high schoolers, wherever your most formative,
Memories.
like traumatic school experiences happened. That's what is triggered when you play these games. Did you feel that?
Oh my gosh, yes. Like, it was so triggering in that way. And so I did say that in something of that Sydney types trigger or threaten me. What I meant by that, and I want to elaborate on what I meant by that, is that all of us are going to find something in another player or in a situation or a conversation that does trigger maybe an old wound or something that was painful for us. And it doesn't even necessarily have to do with that person. What I was saying is, in this group dynamic right now, I feel very othered, and I feel like I'm not cool enough for certain people in this house, which is something that I hated that feeling. I hated feeling less than, and that's not anything that they said outright. That's not something that they were, putting in my head with any specific words. It was more actions, and it was more looks or certain eye rolls or laughing when I walked away or something. It was like this very like, ooh, I'm not cool right now. Oh. I know that I'm cool in other ways. And I know that in my day-to-day life, I'm like, I know that that's not a day-to-day trigger, but in this heightened situation, for sure. And I think that some things I did triggered the hell out of them too.
Yeah. And if you don't have any friends out there or people you can trust, how do you deal with that?
Lonely. It was so lonely. You know how I dealt with it? Crying a lot in my one-on-one confessionals.
Because it's like a therapy session.
It really was.
Remember when we talked, I was at the grocery store because there was like we can't work 7 days in a row. So there's one day off, and she was just like able to lay in her room by herself and just living it. And they let you call me, and we talked for so long. And I was like, I'm here for you. You're a mama. You remember what you're doing this for. And it's like, yeah, it's a really hard thing, but it is like a job. I'm like, look at it like you can make $1 million.
The producers gave me a pep talk like that on Traitors, because this was after the sacrifice when everyone was like out in the woods and we had to like beg for our lives. And I was like, all these people already think I'm a traitor. They're coming after me. And now I'm not going to beg for my life. So I just like froze and I didn't speak. And then I tried to recruit Peter and he said, no. And I was like, oh God, I'm toast.
Oh, you get it. You get
I
it.
was like,
I get that feeling. I get that.
So I came out and the producers were like, oh, nobody really knows. Like, really, you think people know, but they don't. And I think that it was really helpful for me to hear that, even though I didn't really believe them 100%. But I was like, yeah, they're right. Like if I can just kind of get into that mindset.
Yeah.
And I think for the millionaire on your show as well, if you can just kind of play the art of distraction or deflection, like after you gave up the money, they knew you weren't the millionaire
I know.
and they still voted you out.
That's the kicker. That
Oh
was
my
that was the, you know, the salt in the wound, so to speak. I'd had a really hard few days. I get to that moment. It doesn't, I didn't do that perfectly. Of course I didn't. It was like a shaken up pop bottle, right? That like finally all this is released and it's not going to be done perfectly, but I tried my best to then try to prove myself as a team player. And when that happened, watching it back, what was really interesting is like, you see me realize what's happening when Sam is trying to like, Lauren, focus, like, look at me, focus. Here's what's happening. We have very little time, like no time, woman, no time. And so
Mhm.
I just like, I shrivel, like you just see me like kind of give
hard.
up.
Yeah.
And that was hard to watch back. And the whole dinner obviously is very hard to watch back.
You're
Like as
gonna
I'm
like,
feeling in my chest as I'm talking about it, I'm like, Lauren, don't cry.
you
That
can cry. It's fine.
seriously, that sucked. Like it was brutal. It was hard to hear. I get why they couldn't defend me. I get it. Like they had a plan. Keep quiet about it. This could work out for us. Like just chill. Okay. Just chill, get through dinner. But it was very lonely and it was very hard to try to keep my composure when I felt like I was being unfairly criticized. Have criticism, have feedback, have your reasons. But I did feel like it took on maybe a different dynamic that was more personal. And that's where it got hard for me because I really didn't have any defense in that moment. I'm such a fight, flight, freeze. I'm getting the heck out of there, or I'm wanting to caretake, and I didn't have any defense. And yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, you're stuck. Was it an alliance situation? Is that what was happening?
I think so. I don't know that they would ever claim that, but that's sure how it felt.
It kind of
Yes.
looked like, yeah. It was
I
like,
think
oh,
Sam
she's
said
not
a really
involved.
good thing. She's like, listen, I wish I could have spoken up, but it's really hard at this point because she doesn't, you know, the heat that would go on her chances of, you know, being the next is hard. So it's a really hard, difficult situation. You killed it, Lauren. I'm getting so many texts about how great the show is, how incredible you are as the first millionaire. You really made it like fun to watch, especially just like your interviews. You're so authentic. You're so funny. You're so smart.
You're
excited.
so human. I think that's what's really fun to watch. When people play these games and someone like you put yourself out there and you just have the experience. Like you didn't even know what you were saying yes to before you went out and played this game.
No.
So that's really brave. And I would just give yourself a ton of credit, like celebrate your courage in putting yourself in this situation because you don't know what you're going to experience. And what you're offering to people is just a pure look at a human being just being themselves authentically and vulnerably, which is so brave. And I think the more we can see examples of people doing that, the braver other people will get. And we always are our own worst critics. Like you were amazing.
Thank
So
you.
look
Thank you.
at
That was
that.
beautiful. I needed that. I think
Yeah, look at the whole
it's easy to
picture.
be critical, right? It's easy to be critical and look back and wish I would have done something differently. But what I know for sure is I look back on my time on this show with nothing but pride in the way that I was an example for my kids. Ultimately, that's what I wanted to do is you can be yourself in even the hardest situations that make you want to do something else and make you want to betray who you are. You can still be completely 100% yourself and be seen and be understood. And maybe that didn't come in the show, but that's now coming is people see themselves in me and they're telling me that. And honestly, like my win is that. My win is I see myself for the first time in a TV show. I see myself in you. And that is the most beautiful thing ever.
Well, the good news is that people don't have to not keep watching you because you give content on your Instagram. She is so fun.
What's your Instagram?
At Lauren Midwest on Instagram. And then it's Lauren.Midwest on TikTok. I'm new to TikTok. I thought I was too old, but I got peer pressured.
Never too old.
No, she's
never
an
too old.
ideas girly. Her stuff is really fun. That's like when we were going through the casting process, I was like in a rabbit hole on her Instagram, like loving everything. I'm like, I like her.
Keep it light.
You know you're good when you catch Amy Bean's eye.
Lauren.
Which is not on lorazepam.
Oh God, I know, Lauren, I got a boob job, but you would never know. It's really tiny. Just because I was like, I need to, 3 kids later, and I'm like,
man.
they were deflated, inverted. I said, okay, we're just gonna plump them up a little.
Okay,
Okay, I'm finding you on
seriously,
Instagram
I
right
don't
now.
blame you for a second. 3 kids will do some damage. Okay.
I was like, this is not me.
No. Oh my gosh. I look back at old pictures and I'm like, look at what I used to look like.
I know.
Well, thank
Lauren,
you so much
really,
for talking to
thank you,
us.
guys.
And
Thank you.
tonight, or like right now, not tonight, I'm sorry. It's
This very
all,
day.
all 3 episodes, new episodes are happening right now. So that's exciting. I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day.
I'm gonna binge.
We're binging.
Yeah. Let's get into
Thank
it.
you,
Let's
ladies,
get
so
some
much. You're
tacos.
lovely.
Okay. Thanks, Lauren. Say hi to your daughter for me.
Oh, I will. She's gonna freak out.
Okay. Hopefully, we'll see you on another show soon.
That would be awesome.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye,
Lauren.
guys.
What a fun episode.
We've covered a lot here. I feel bad. It's like an hour and a half now, but
Hope you guys enjoyed that extra long chat that we had
I
today.
love Lauren. I love Stephanie Barron Hall. I love you. I'm like, I don't know if it's lorazepam or
We
what,
love
but-
eggs.
Derek.
I love
Do
Derek.
love eggs.
We love this community so much. So thank you guys so much for listening. Please send this to your friends. Subscribe. We're going to get you guys somehow, some way, links to watch Australian Survivor when it airs. So tell all your friends about it. I'm making that promise now. I really hope I can pull through.
I do too.
I'm
Okay.
excited. All right.
See you next week.
Yeah. See you next week. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.